Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus, Pimp Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, with a royale review for Living Single. So, yes, I have decided to add this to the repertoire. Not sure if I used that term correctly, but y'all understand what I'm saying. Now, I never really watched this show like that. From my research, it came out in 1993. Okay. Um, just a little bit before my time, okay? Just a little bit. My sister used to watch it. I always hear people rave over it. I understand that um Girlfriends is very heavily inspired by Living Single. They have that similar formula, certain similar character tropes also. And by this first episode, I noticed a lot of parallels to Girlfriends, including this like particular type of storyline that is in this first episode. Girlfriends has a similar storyline. Mm-hmm. Not in their first episode, but one of the episodes has a similar storyline. So yeah, this is following a group of 20 somethings that all live in the same brownstone. Okay, so we got Sinclair, Khadijah, Regine. They share one apartment living situation. Like they're, they have like an upstairs in there. It kind of confused me, but it's New York. And some apartments they have that in general, but anywho, they share one apartment together, and then Maxine has her own apartment. Okay, and then you got the two guys, Obi and I want to call him Lance. That is not his name. We'll revisit oh god, it almost came to me. We'll revisit what his name is as we get throughout the episode when he's introduced in this first episode. I'm so sorry. I know you. Kyle Walker. I know y'all's probably over there yelling it at me like Kyle. Yes, okay. So yeah, Kyle and Obi share an apartment together. Okay. Um, Obi is the handyman. I don't remember what Kyle does. Once it's made clear throughout the episode, we'll talk about that. But Maxine is a lawyer, okay? Maxine Shaw, attorney at law. Okay. I know quite a few other references, even though I didn't watch it, okay? And that shows the impact on the culture. All right? Yes. Now, Sinclair is Khadijah's secretary slash assistant. I tend to feel like those terms are interchangeable, though they may not be. But yeah, Sinclair works for Khadijah at her grassroots magazine headquarters. Khadijah has Flavor Magazine. That's her magazine that she done started up. And she is doing the thing. Now, this is a different type storyline that I don't see often in many shows like this. And I'm sure that this is pretty innovative for the time period as well. Specifically showing a black woman in this position. We love to see it. Regine. I'm not sure what Regine does yet. It is mentioned that she has a job of some sort in this episode, but I'm not clear on what she does yet. So once I'm made clear on that, we'll talk about it. Now, I think that's all, like, the little background information thus far. And any other little character traits and such, I'll touch on it when we touch on it. And ain't gonna waste no more time. Gonna get right into the specificities of this show and its first episode. Now, interesting to me, the very first character that we are introduced to at the whole series is Sinclair. And while this whole thing is a comedy, we know that Sinclair is the comic relief type character. Shout out to Prim's Hood Cinema. But she is like the designated comic relief character. And I'm not going to like spend the whole time making parallels to Girlfriends, but Girlfriends was the show that I more so grew up with. You know, I was born in 96. So, like I said, this show was a little bit before me. I didn't really like get into it. I had Girlfriends. So, that's a part of why, I'm going to be identifying certain things through the lens of my experience of Girlfriends. But I'm going to try not to do that too much so that we can stay focused on, this show as it is. Because, of course, this show was first. Anywho, Sinclair is like, well, let me put it like this. Lynn from Girlfriends is somewhat the Sinclair of Living Single, where she is pretty flighty, unorthodox, quirky, that type thing. And Lynn is also like that comic relief type character. She is more laid back than Sinclair, but they have a lot of similarities in the way that they are used by the writers in particular in the friend group. So yeah, we're introduced first to Sinclair, and she is sitting at her desk at the headquarters for Flavor magazine. And I find it very interesting as well that they have her costumed in all black. My initial perspective of Sinclair in her introduction is, of course, very bubbly, weird, quirky, funny, and of course they have her as like the airhead also. And there's a hippie vibe, even though you don't see it in her costumage from jump, but I feel like they have her in all black because her personality is so booming. They want the actress to use her whole acting skills and all of that, her characterization, her personality and all of that to exude who and what Claire is and not rely so much on the clothing. Not to mention, this being the initial introduction, with Sinclair being such the huge unorthodox personality, if they were to put her in a hell of a lot of colors, it might be overwhelming to the viewer, and it may lead with some sort of theme that contradicts their intent for this episode and the show. So yeah, we open up with Sinclair at her desk, answering the phone in this Australian accent. And over her shoulder, we see Khadijah walking around, checking on everything like the boss that she is. And my initial reaction to her, first of all, this hair is laid. The body of the hair is bodying. So we can initially see that she is by her business. And pardon the sound quality that you may hear alter a bit as I move throughout the house. I am multitasking. Pardon me. And much like Sinclair, I possess a whole lot of energy that tends to work and flow better when it comes to speaking my thoughts and opinions when I'm able to stand and move around. Got to get some good balanced distribution going on. Now, anywho, like I said, we are instantly able to see that Khadijah is about her biz and she walks on over to Sinclair to get her together like, baby, excuse me, who are you? What is this Aussie that you're giving here? Do you know where you are? This ain't the jungle, baby. Get it together. And Sinclair is basically like, she's trying to make it clear to the clients that they are international. And Khadijah says, baby, you need to make it clear that we need some money. And keep in mind that this is a grassroots publication. Sinclair then flips her hat to the back, got my hands hanging real low. Sinclair flips her hat to the back and then starts speaking on some yo, homie, yo, what can I do for you? And Khadijah is visibly frustrated, but can't even complain about that at the moment because, honey, she is trying. Sinclair is trying, and she just got to take what she can get in this moment. Not to mention, Regine then enters, and we can instantly see that Shouty is a bourgeoisie. And she got on this real cute, I can't tell if that's a one piece or a two piece, but it's like a white long sleeve top. The sleeves are a bit sheer, somewhat see-through. She got on some real nice jewelry, a black skirt, this nice belt with a gold buckle, a scarf on her head, some shades, and some real cute shoes also. Your girl is styling and profiling. And Sinclair, Regine can be understood to mean as, well, let me rephrase it because this one came first. Tony from Girlfriends would be the Regine. There we go. So yeah, she be styling and profiling. She be having her nose tooted all up in the air and ever so committed to flexing on everybody and everything. So yeah, she walk in, she feeling giddy, she feeling herself. Oh, I pointed this out. Let me point out about my parallels for Khadijah. From my perspective, even though it can go back and forth between Khadijah and Maxine, Khadijah seems to be somewhat, rephrase it, Joan from Girlfriends seems to be somewhat of the Khadijah. However, Khadijah seems to be less male-centered, male-fixated, less of a pick-me than Joan. But that's my perspective, just like off rip from the first episode, okay? So if that changes, I'll point it out. But yeah. Now, Regine walks in, giddy, feeling herself. She like, hello, ladies. I've got good news and I couldn't wait till you got home to rub your noses in it, honey. So, we noticed that Khadijah is already annoyed by Regine. She is not trying to deal with Regine right now. She already trying to deal with Sinclair. She's trying to get her business up. Like, she is focused. And Regine is creating a obstacle to her focus at the moment. Not to mention, I feel like these ladies were strategically introduced in the way that they were to show how much of a opposite Khadijah is to Sinclair, and then how much of a, I want to say, juxtaposition, because as it concerns like a thriving for higher status, Regine and Khadijah have that in common, but their methods are the exact opposite. It seems as though Khadijah is all about hard work, independence, getting it how she lived, doing it for herself, while Regine is more so about what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. She's very much so about finding somebody to get it for her. Like, get somebody else to do it and I'm going to benefit from it. Okay. So, yeah, she turns around after she walks over to the window and looks back at them and she's like, look outside. What is long, black, and at the curb? Honey. So Khadijah's like, baby, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to know Nathaniel about it. And Regine said, honey, it is a stretch limousine. And Khadijah says, well, good. It'll go well with your stretch marks. Ooh, not the body shame. Get up off her tiger stripes. So Regine is not trying to hear that because first of all, she came up here high up on her horse, okay, to give you girls the business. Now you done knocked her about 3, 4, 5 pegs down. She's not feeling that. Just okay. So we can see also that Khadijah humbles Regine in a lot of different ways. Instantly, she brings Regine down to earth and seems like she tries her best to bring structure to Sinclair. These like her two little sisters, even though I don't know if it's mentioned yet. I don't think it's been mentioned yet in the episode, but it is to my understanding that Sinclair and Khadijah are cousins. So yeah, that being said, Sinclair walks over in between them and is like, is it me? Or do I sense a little tension here? Listen to Khadijah. I know your Aries rising is constantly conflicting with her Taurus moon, but can't we all just get along? Come on with the astrology. So yes, another parallel to Lynn from my perspective. Yes, see the hippie element into astrology. What they call it? Bohemian, got a little bohemian edge there, and we see that she is also the peacemaker. And both of them is like, yeah, whatever. And Regine continues on and it's like, baby, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. I just came to tell you that the limo outside happens to be my new boyfriend's. And his name is Brad. And Khadijah says, baby, well, guess what? That's wonderful. If we didn't have so much work to do here, we'd love to hear more about your latest K9 catch. Burn. And with that little roast and reading gag that Khadijah just laid on Regine, we can indicate that Regine is a hyper dater. Seems like she be from one to the next quite a bit and may have a proclivity towards dirty shoes and dirty men alike. Shout out to Silver. But seem like she likes well-packaged, trash-ass men. Whew. Let's see how this turns out, honey. And Regine says, oh, you want to hear more? Well, listen, Brad and I were on our way to lunch, but we never made it out of the limo, okay? He ate caviar from my cleavage, and we drank champagne from my shoe. That's nasty, honey. That is nasty. And Khadijah pops at her again and says, baby, with them big old feet of yours, I know y'all was drunk at your pants, okay? Drunker than a coup de grace. Regine is not pleased, but she continues on and says, baby, I'm telling you, Brad, now, he could be the one. Golly, girl, you said your new boyfriend, you trying to get him on down the aisle already? She said he fine, educated, wealthy, and has a butt that's dented on the sides with the promise of power. Baby, you better go ahead and anticipate that pelvic thrust. I always wondered why so many women, older women in particular, these women are clearly older than me, even though, they are supposed to be in their 20s on the show. I'm just pointing out that this is like, a time that's older than me. So like a lot of women from like their time love to evaluate men's butts. I never understood why until this moment, honey. They are evaluating the butt to anticipate and evaluate the potential power of the pelvic thrust. Baby, the more you know. They was all okay, they out to something, yes. But Regine is very clearly hot in the pot, all up in their face with it. And Khadijah says, well, baby, we'll see how long this one lasts. And Regine said, honey, what that supposed to mean? And Khadijah said, men dump you like Eddie Murphy albums. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Regine got the reads. I mean, not Regine, Khadijah. Khadijah got the reads. Goodness gracious. It's only like, what? It's only like about 10 minutes in. And Regine only been in the scene for less than that. And she done just flamed this girl up back to back to back to back to back. But again, another indication of Khadijah trying to get this girl up out her face, up out her time, space, and place. Because she got work to do. So get on with your little boo and do what you do. Now, I also got to point out the way that she flamed up Eddie Murphy out at the same time. Goodness gracious. Shout out to Eddie Murphy. And Regine, why do I keep calling her Regine, child? Khadijah goes on to tell Regine that if she really wants a romantic relationship that will last, she needs to start looking beyond a man's wallet. And Regine said, wait a minute, what are you saying? That I'm shallow? Khadijah said, baby, as a kiddie pool. How many examples do you need? But this exchange of thoughts and opinions is interrupted by a phone call on the business line to Khadijah. And Khadijah answers, and we see that she is expressing some excited anticipation for a very special person to be on the cover of her magazine. But then we see this excited anticipation transform into disappointment and anxiety. Like, what you mean she can't? Why not? Oh, okay. Well, my secretary was supposed to, honey. And in the midst, we see, now I feel like Sinclair hear everything that's going on. And she acting like she's oblivious over there, picking at her teeth and carrying on. But yeah, and so Khadijah just made it clear that Sinclair is the secretary. So she is looking at Sinclair unpleased, disturbed, perturbed, looking like she want to take a bite out of it, and not in a good way, of course. So she's like, okay, never mind, thank you, bye. Hangs up, walks over to Sinclair and said, baby, that was Maya Angelou's office on the phone. Apparently she can't do my cover because she didn't receive the questions for the interview. And Regine is like, oh, well, baby, that sounds like a personal problem. I think I have Brad's limo. Take me to a boutique. Girl, you do that. You do just that. So she's talking about, so losers she work with can have a reason to hate her. So again, she has a job. I don't know what it is, but she has a job. I also just noticed that Sinclair doesn't have on all black, but most of what we see of her first is most of the black because she was sitting down, of course. But she has on like some brownish, burnt oranges type pants with black in them. Either way, very neutral colored with a nice red lip. Clean, natural beat on the makeup too. And I am loving the way that the colors of the costumage is intentionally used in coordination with the set, the colors of the set, like all of the colors are very strategic. And so I just may, do a saga to do the color theory of this show as well. But hold that thought. Just so much catching my attention. It's so lovely. Anywho, so Sinclair walks over to explain herself, and she basically says that she's been really busy working on her cosmetology thesis. Purple lipstick, the black woman's enemy. Now, Sinclair, I'm gonna have to disagree. I think black women look wonderful in purple lipstick. Of course, your skin tone and the shade of purple makes a large difference. But just purple in general with black women, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, I don't know how they would respond to their thesis. But that's besides the point. Cause Khadijah ain't trying to hear none of that either. She like, baby, you need to focus where you at right here, right now. Let's get some priorities going on. And she's really over Sinclair. She like, look, I'm sure whatever school you going to this week is important to you, but you came to Brooklyn to help me with my magazine. And Sinclair says, look, I'll get you somebody else for that color. Don't get your cover. Don't get your panties in a bunch. And Khadijah's like, babe, I want this done right. So if I want it done right, I guess I'm just going to have to do it myself. And Sinclair suggests that they get Mike Tyson because she know where he is and that he's going to be there for a long time. Now, I guess this is one of the times that Mike Tyson was in jail for some form of violent behavior. Crazy. And if y'all have some extra details on like the hot topics that are referenced in the episodes, feel free to expound in the comments. Help me help you. And that's the conclusion of that scene with Khadijah just being worn out with the bull crap. This outside view of the brownstone that they stand in, I wonder if this is the same scenery from the Cosby Show. It just looks like it. I don't know. If you know, let me know. But I just want to point that out. We'll get to the next scene, and we are introduced to Overton. And it looks like he is working on a vacuum. And he's talking to Sinclair, explaining to her about some things he refers as little devils that can be very tricky like a fox. And whatever you do, you don't want to touch that wire right there. He done freak Sinclair out, making her think that he gonna touch the wire that he specified you never touch. So cute. And he said, oh yes, just a little hand-to-man humor. Yes, he's adorable. And him and Sinclair are like the perfect matches. I love the character designs and them being linked together at that. So apparently this is something that they have a consistency of doing. They are not officially dating, but they are and have been building up a bond with each other. Sinclair goes into the kitchen like to get them something to drink or some snacks or whatever. And in that time, Kyle appears at the door. I like what he has on. He kind of looks like a leprechaun a little bit, but I like what he has on. It's like this green shirt, long sleeve. Well, it's a yellow shirt, long sleeve, green tie, and some very colorful suspenders going on. I like this. Anywho, He comes on in and he's like, I know I would have found you here. I thought you was going to fix the TV before the game starts. And Overton is like, I'm trying to fix some things right here. Referring to Sinclair, he is actively trying to pursue Sinclair. And he said he is weaving a delicate web of trust. So yeah, he trying to form that good bond, that good foundation. I love his patience and his tenderness to the process. And he explains that she is letting him fix her vacuum. So that's her vacuum that he's working on. Okay. Okay, look at you. Yeah, I love that. And he figure. He starts with, all these other little things that she letting him work on. And he trying real hard to get up under that sink. Okay, get a little moisture going, unclog some pipes. But Kyle is clocking him. He is not feeling it. He said, baby, this is not home improvement. But it is. His life is home improvement. That's what he does. Don't get in the way of that man's divine purpose. Don't be trying to block his blessings. But now here Kyle go, and this is something that I would catch in passing when my sister would have it on the TV, is that Kyle always thinks he's just the ultimate ladies man. And quiet as it's kept, I don't even feel like Kyle would have to do all that extraness that he be putting down. He's a handsome man, has a nice job. Most women will fool with him just based off of that. At least for some period of time. Now, what Overton got going permits more of a longevity type thing. So again, neither of them has to really do all this extra read all about it that Kyle is putting down. But maybe Kyle does to an extent because his mindset is a little superficial, borders the line of pig-headed. He just really full of himself when it comes to things that don't matter that much. And I feel like it kind of taints his personality. In a way, he's like a male version of Ray Jean. In a way. I'm going to proceed with this scene. We'll talk about all that other stuff later. So, he tells Overton that dealing with a woman is like a basketball game. And brothers like you dribble around the perimeter fixing vacuum cleaners while a man like me drives straight up the middle and slams. Sir, shut up, please. And that's exactly what I was just talking about. You talking about momentary stuff. You talking about hitting it and quitting it and just dibbling dabbling all up in the lust and infatuation of everything. Overton is in it for the long game. Okay? He ain't trying to just take a couple of shots at the basket. He is trying to run the marathon with the girl that he wants. So cut all that out. All that peacocking and carrying on. You already got on this loud outfit. You don't need to be doing all that. My guess is because he's short. But anywho. Sinclair comes back with the refreshments. And Overton says to Kyle, you remember when that girl called a 3-second violation on your ass? Ooh. 3-second violation. Ooh. Burn. See? Real momentary, real quick with it. While Overton is in it for the long game. In it for the long game. So Kyle is embarrassed, of course, because he done also said this in front of Sinclair. So he pushed him on over to the side, talking about, sir, look, I thought we took a solemn vow not to talk about that. Well, baby, don't be up here playing on his top while he in the midst of trying to harvest his crops. Stop the madness. You gonna play on him, he gonna play on you. Boo. He talking about it only happened once and it was a mental block. It can happen to anybody. Well, baby, get up out your head and get up in your passion. And see, Overton functions in his passion, right? Okay? As he says, it never happened to him. Kyle gonna say it's because you never get any. Overton said, well, that's true. But when I do get some, you better believe I ain't having no damn mental block. Nah. Get on them. Now, Kyle wants to take us to the next level, talking about, well, if I take that hammer and knock you upside the head, then you might just have a mental block. Overton said, baby, you not touching my tools. And I love how we're getting a smooth, now it's quick because it's a sitcom, right? But it's a smooth transition. The guy that's playing Overton is doing some great acting as well, because we're introduced to Overton being very lighthearted and delicate and all that. Then we get to see his excitement mixed with some determination in there. He makes some little cute light jabs at Kyle once he, notices that he playing on his top. And then when Kyle starts talking about, I'm going to knock you upside the head with your hammer, we see Overton get serious, okay? This is when he mean business. He said, you ain't touching my tools. So we know that while Overton is very jovial, if you will, he don't play no games when it comes to his tools. And Kyle gonna say, look, just simmer down, okay? It's just a hammer. And Overton said, baby, you got me messed up. It is not just a hammer. It's an heirloom passed on from my great granddaddy. So this handyman stuff runs in his family. And he said that his great granddaddy passed it on to the guy that he thought was his daddy. Okay, so we got some lies and deception going on in his bloodline as well. But either way, they made sure that hammer was passed on down to him. Now, after he goes through that whole little spiel, Khadijah comes on into the room, the living room, that is, and she's on the phone, and she's like, yes. Did you tell him that it was for the cover of Flavor magazine? Did you tell him I watched every bit of You Bet Your Life? That's the name of a show, apparently. Y'all fill me in. Help me help you. So apparently they done hung up on her. And she had to like, hello? Is it me you're looking for? No. They're actually going in the other direction. They is not trying to fool with her. And she is fed up once again. And she like, I should have told them that I ate a whole lot of Jell-O. I don't know who that's referencing to. So again, help me help you. But Sinclair chimes in and says, didn't you take that great lead that I gave you? And Khadijah says, look, it turns out Nipsey Russell is going to be doing dinner theater. And that gets Overton excited. He's excited to hear the name and that they even had that interaction because he said, oh my goodness, I heard he got the lead in Gypsy. Okay? He said that man show can't act. Now, as an actress myself, I need to educate myself on exactly who Nipsey Russell is. I done heard this name quite a bit. I feel like I done learned something on him, but it just doesn't stick in my brain. I just keep thinking about Nipsey Hussle. But I know that those are not the same people. I know that for a fact. Yeah, help me. Help you, help me, okay? Either way, Khadijah is running into a lot of roadblocks as it concerns getting somebody for the cover of her magazine. Somebody popular, prominent, black, and all that. Now, Ray Jean comes on down the stairs wearing another very cute number. This whole scene too, the costumage has a predominant consistency of green, yellow, and like earth tone shades of red and orange. The earth tone shades of red and orange are quite consistent. And yellow is seems to usually be used as like a splash or a little accent, but the yellow and the green, which is also usually used as like a little splash or a little accent, it's been brought up very prominent in this scene. And to my understanding, with the spirituality of everything, yellow symbolizes like happiness and confidence and all of that, while green resonates with the heart, matters of love and money. And those are some themes that we have going on here, okay? With Overton being like confident in his pursuit of Sinclair, bringing her bouts of happiness and humor and joy. Regine is also radiating joy and is coming from a place of love because she dating that dude and he got her feeling real good by herself and everything. And I feel like they put Kyle in his green and yellow outfit to show that he's very full of himself. He's very confident in himself. That's what he projects, at least. And he has a lot of love for himself. That's what he projects, at least. And he seems to attract a lot of love. That's what he say. So that's what he wants to project and what he wants to give off. And I feel like it also gives like it shows the times, like the style of his clothing, as well as the fact that he may be more in touch with his feminine side, his creative side, and all of that than he likes to let on. He seems to really want to lead with, I guess, what he perceives as a hyper masculinity in a way. And I feel like it's to compensate with how feminine he actually is. And there ain't nothing wrong with him being feminine. We all have masculine and feminine sides, but especially during this time period and him being a man, a black man at that, it would make sense if he feels, some insecurities about being so naturally in touch with his feminine side in such a way, and therefore perhaps triggered by Overton, who is very balanced in his masculine and feminine energy and unashamed of himself all at the same time. He has a job, a career that is perceived to be very masculine as it concerns being handy and building. And there's also a creative element that goes into that as well, amongst the fact that he doesn't feel a need to be so brute and or obnoxious about his manhood in order to pursue women nor to interact with women. And from my perspective of Girlfriends, I feel like William from Girlfriends encompasses both characteristics of Overton and Kyle, where William's very naturally feminine, and that's how he was able to bond with the girls in such a way and them not be so, uncomfortable around him. But then at the same time, William could be very pig-headed and overcompensate certain parts of his masculinity, seemingly to make up for what he feels like he lacked when it comes to his feminine energy being so prominent. But yeah, Regine, I be want to call Regine Sinclair. I be want to call Khadijah Regine. Bear with me, honey. Bear with me. So, Regine comes down, clearly prepared to go on another date, and she is bopping very happily and joyfully. And it's like, okay, which one of you lucky people is going to zip me up? And Kyle talking about, not me, baby. You know my forte is unzipping, sir. Please. Please. I wonder what would have happened if Regine and Kyle had dated, because both of them are just so like obnoxiously full of themselves, in the way that they project that, what they lead with out loud. So it would have really been interesting to see. Well, I don't know. It's 5 damn seasons. Maybe they have that as a storyline, but I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see them to try to date each other, and how would that go? Because they are so much alike in a lot of ways. But her date is clearly at the door, and she like, okay, 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 y'all, pull yourselves together, act like you got some sense, okay? Make me look good, even though I got that going on already. Look happy, Khadijah. Do your best, all right? And she opens the door, and it's Max. So we are officially introduced to Maxine Shaw, attorney at law. And I love her dress suit. I love the color that they chose. It's a very grape juicy type of purple. I don't know the proper identification for that turn of purple, but it gives me like very grape juicy type of purple. And I love the way it complements her skin tone. So yeah, she comes on in, and Regine is annoyed by her presence because she thought it was her date, of course. And she also is like, oh, it's just you. Don't you ever go home? So that gives us some implications that Maxine is always over there, even though she got her own spot. So that also shows how close the girls are, despite staying in different places. And also, Maxine may not have anybody else like that for real. But we'll pause on, that background information. But that's just, what I'm picking up from Jump. Again, though I didn't watch the show, my sister did, so I would see it on in passing. So there are a couple of things that I kind of know just from that. And then certain things that I'm getting like a first impression on through like finally watching it, and this being the first episode. So just saying a lot to me about the way that they are introducing the characters, and I feel like it's very cool the way that they're doing it also. And it's like you see them come in, you see their posture, you see what they have on, and then you get your first bit of information off of a lot of them by the way that the other characters respond to them. So I think that's a really cool way of doing, I want to say character development, but I feel like unraveling of the characters to the audience. So yeah, real cool. And Maxine says to her, "Oh, good to see you, girl. Where you going? The carnival?" They be fine her up. So Max walks in, and we get some indication here that Max and Khadijah may be the closest, because they got this little handshake that they instantly do as soon as Max comes in, and seem like they both have this thing of bringing Regine down to earth when she is acting a whole high and mighty clown. And she also says to Max, "My mellow, my ace. What's up, girl?" So yeah, they besties at you. And y'all remember me saying that from my girlfriend's experience, Khadijah has, Joan has Khadijah like elements. But I feel like also Max like elements. But just by the way that she is a lawyer, and Joan had a way of bringing Tony and Lynn down to earth. Well, bringing Tony in particular down to earth, and trying to bring about structure in Lynn. Now, that being said, I feel like Max and Tony also have some characteristics alike as it concerns the exuding of confidence. And there are some other ways, but I'll tap into that as we go, like throughout the show, because I'll, have more concrete examples to give as it happens in the moment. But yeah, I'm digging it. I'm digging the characters here. So yeah, Max say today my look and my law were fierce. You are absolutely correct, girl. And I love that, this purple that she got on and they gave her golden jewelry and a red lip. Perfect. Perfect. It's giving juicy. But she said she got her client the house on Winnebago and alimony. And 70% of all the assets that he tried to conceal. So evidently her client was going through a divorce and her client was a woman also. And she helped her get that bag. That bag. So we know that Maxine is good, great, excellent at what she does. She said she left that man with a lint ball and a half a Tic Tac. Boom. I'm here for it. We love to see it. Now, she said, don't touch me unless you want to get burned. And her and Khadijah had this celebratory little jig going on. And Kyle piping up talking about he feels sorry for the brother. Shut up. Of course you do. Shut up. So Max said, Kyle, these people on a Winnebago, you should know they ain't black. And Kyle said, you women will take the nuts from a squirrel. Absolutely, Mr. Squirrel. But he gets up and hustles Overton for them to leave and go on back to their apartment. And of course, he still got some things that Overton is supposed to be doing handiwork on. Amongst the fact, he probably feel like it's way too many women in there for them to just be, like this here with it. Okay, sir. But Overton seems like he comfortable. He ain't worried about it. But whatever. So Max says to him, someone has to protect women's rights. And he said, yeah. All this just proves one thing. You want me. Nigga, what? That's what you got from all that? Please. Even though I know that they do end up having a little thing, it's just still get over yourself. Because Overton gonna turn around talking about, yeah, and me too. And Kyle smacks him in the back of the head. A mess. I would not take that. Anywho, as they exit, Sinclair goes on saying that Overton is so sweet. And Khadijah says, Sinclair, listen to me. You must never, ever, 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 ever conceive a child with that man. Oh, the baby might be sweet. Don't do her like that. Now, there's another knock and or doorbell that rings off. And this time, Regine is sure that is her date, Mr. Brad. And she says, ladies, on the other side of that door stands Michelangelo's David, a.k.a. my Brad. And Khadijah says, on this side of the door stands a woman who could give a damn he fine. Now, I recognize this man. I don't know his name. I know he's a very prominent actor. I might drop it in the comments once I, do my little search after I record this and everything. But I'm saying all this to say, I understand why, he's being seen as like a heartthrob and everything, but he don't really do it for me. For one, he needs some facial hair. For two, the way that his features are, he got like this like curly, half conch type fade that ramps off to the front. And I feel like the way his features are, his hair would look much better slick to the back. And I also kind of feel like he would look better as a woman. But he looks very nice in a suit. His skin is popping and his hair is glowing. So I understand why they are like, oh, okay, all right, girl, I see you. So they all huddled up, gawking at him. Khadijah is, really impressed. And Ray Jean is all up at the door and all down his throat. Okay. They barely came up for breath. The way they was over there tonguing each other down, child. Tisk. And Ray Jean is talking about Brad, girlfriends, Brad. And ready to just hit the door. But they are halted because Brad wants to introduce himself and he's like, pleasure to meet you. Sinclair says, how do you do? And they all just like kind of pushing each other all out the way to, greet him and all of that. And Khadijah asserts herself and she says, so do you rent or own? And he says he's renovating a townhouse. Max say, where did you go to school? He said the Cordon Bleu in France. And Sinclair says, oh, so you're a chef. And she offers him some cheese. So yes, the girls are all over him with the question, trying to see who he is, what he bought, where he come from, and where is he going. It reminds me of the end of Mulan when Shane goes to take Mulan her helmet, and Mulan says, would you like to stay for dinner? And Grandma pipes up from across the way, would you like to stay forever? But he declines their cheese. And Khadijah says, so tell me, you got a steady job? He says he owns the supper club up in Harlem, the Blue Bayou. And she says, I hear you got a cool urban magazine that you running. And Khadijah says, yes, it's the urban, everything you need to know about a woman and her point of view. Now, I would say that Khadijah is networking, if you will. But also, girl, is you trying to push up on Ray Jean's man? Is you trying to potentially take him for yourself? Ooh. Ray Jean swoops on over and it's like, look, we'd love to stay, but boring conversation is not on our schedule. I heard that, and you better get him up out of there, girl, because they are going to eat him alive. But they bid them farewell for the night. And the girl stay behind and it's like, okay, she done did all right for herself this time. Sinclair started eating them cheese and crackers. They said, brother got it going on. And Sinclair said, I don't know. He's no Overton. I gotta agree. Now, they looking at her crazy as she say that. But I feel like Sinclair is peeping game. And it sound like, from their perspective, it would sound like she don't know what she's talking about. It would sound like her taste is questionable and all that. But I feel like Sinclair is peeping game. So hold that thought. The next scene, they are back at the magazine headquarters, and this beautiful woman wearing a red top and what looks to be black slacks, hair pulled to the back. I believe that this is the same girl that played the woman that Carlton lost his virginity to on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Beautiful makeup, beats, and I love the way they are applying these red lips and this golden jewelry. Very 90s, very 90s. Reminds me of how I remember my mama dressing when I was younger. So yeah, anywho, she walks in and she says, hi, I'd like to take out a full page ad for my restaurant. And Sinclair says, okay, I can handle that for you. And the lady says, okay, well, here's our logo. And Sinclair says, oh, okay, Blue Bayou, Tiana Graham. and Brad Hamilton. So Sinclair says, "Oh, I know Brad." And Miss Lady says, "Oh, really? How do you know my husband?" Woo! Okay. Now, while Sinclair is surprised by this news, I still feel like she was peeping game in her own way when she said that he's no Overton. Okay? Him being overtly clean, overtly debonair, and all that gives signs of a man who is hiding something. Kind of like Kyle, if you will, coming off just way too player. Uh huh. Uh huh. Whereas Overton is just himself, very transparent. He's just being himself and allowing that to work for him, as opposed to doing all this other stuff and leading with the suits and the conked faded hair and bushy eyebrows and no facial hair, like So yeah, Sinclair is shocked and a nigga named Paul and trying to figure out what to say, cause she like, how do I know your husband? Did I say I knew your husband? My mind, go figure. Anywho, thank you very much. I have to go to the restroom. Bye bye. And as she frantically huts out, she grabs Khadijah on with her into what looks to be the back office. So we know she fixing to give Khadijah the tea that this man is married and cheating on this beautiful girl. Like, what is wrong with him? Now, we don't know the ins and outs of all their marriage and all this and that and the third. But it seems like a very nice lady. And gorgeous. Gorgeous. And you just out here and about just doing the most. Now, that may also make sense as to why him and Sinclair didn't make it out the car for their date. Now, we don't know what happened on the other date, but we know on the date that she was talking about initially, they didn't make it out the car and all this and that and the third. It's probably because he ain't trying to be seen. Tisk. Big tisk. Now, like I had said at the beginning, this storyline is similar to one that Girlfriends did. So I wonder if they genuinely like took and adapted the storyline directly from this episode. But yeah, there's an episode of Girlfriends where Tony's new boyfriend tells her that he's married so that she doesn't anticipate anything serious, and it adds like a thrill to their relationship and shit. But he turns out to not actually be married. And the new guy that John was dating turns out to actually be married, and his wife was vandalizing her stuff. So because Tony was told and, thinking that her dude was married, all of them, taking in that information, they was thinking that the lady that was vandalizing Joan's stuff and like stalking her and whatnot had her confused with Tony. But it turns out, no. Tony's man wasn't even actually married. He was just telling her that to game her in some weird, backwards, unorthodox way. But, basically to make it clear to her in a very weird, childish manner that he not trying to go no further with her than just, the mess around of what they had going on. But they start doing the most to keep this crazy lady up off of John, and it's a whole thing. So yeah, this storyline is the one on Girlfriends is similar to this one, and it's like they adapted it in their own way, which is really cool. Now later on that day, they back at the house and they're in the kitchen. It starts off with just Khadijah and Sinclair in the kitchen. Looks like Khadijah is cooking up some food for the evening. And I love these juicy tones of colors that they keep putting Max in thus far. Max comes in what I perceive to be a violet red dress suit, looking damn good. And apparently she done already got the tea. Cause she stepped in talking about, I cannot believe that Brad is married. And she goes on saying, you think after God created dogs, she'd know creating men was redundant. And I love the fact that Maxine refers to God as a woman. I see you, girl. I love it. I love it. And thus far, that is one thing that I am appreciating more about this show as opposed to Girlfriends. Because don't get me wrong, Girlfriends is a great show. It's the one that I grew up on and is heavily inspired by this show. But what I feel like they didn't take enough of from this show when it comes to Girlfriends is the women's empowerment energy. On Girlfriends, the women are very male centered and very pick me ish, each of them in their own way. Very much so pick me's. And I feel like, it's done with a purpose. Like there's a method to the madness on Girlfriends, but they all are very insecure and very male driven, like male centered in each of them in their own way. As opposed to the women on this show, they desire to have a man, for the most part. It seems as though each of them, they're open to dating. They desire companionship from men, but they don't come off desperate about it. Yeah, Regine is very hyper fixated and consumed by the infatuation at all. She definitely wants to be kept, but is still not giving desperate like the women of Girlfriends often are and often come off. Amongst the fact, things shown evidently, like Maxine referring to God as a woman. It makes a large difference. But that's a conversation for another time. I just wanted to point that out real quick. I didn't think too much about it before, but like actually sitting and watching the show, like, yeah, that is one thing that Girlfriends lacked. And it could be due to the time period, and could even be due to the difference in location. But like I said, Girlfriends lacked that natural confidence, self-centeredness that each of the girls had. And I mean self-centered in a good way. Like centering the self, doing for the self first, and not being so, I need a man, I need a man, I need a man, oh my gosh, a man. And putting so much about a man to validate their existence and their value. I may, do a whole video on that subject. But yeah, moving on. Because we're in the last 10 minutes of this episode, and it's already done got long. But hey, we on divine timing and divine design. So let's get it. Sinclair walks over and says Regine is gonna be devastated once we tell her what we know. She's like, she sincerely loves him. And Max says, well, it was bound to happen. Eventually, we all get crushed by the male libido. I was in love once. And apparently, this is a story that Maxine has told quite often because Khadijah wants to stop her immediately in her tracks from telling it once again. But she proceeds on along as she says, yes, I was in love once. Then, when my career got on track and his didn't, he just up and left. Just packed his little raggedy duffel bag and left. Girl, it be like that sometimes. While Ray Jean's man is married, and it be like that sometimes. Sometimes you dealing with a partner that is low key, high key, yo op. They jealous of you. They in competition with you, and they don't want you to be no better than them. They may want you to be good, but they don't want you to be great. Certainly, if it means that you are so surpassing them, doing better than them in any way, instead of being inspired, they get jealous and envious and feel a need to sun you in some type of way. And I guess he was trying to sun Maxine by packing his little raggedy duffel bag and getting on down. Well, she's still standing. Still she rise and still she survive. She said she ain't bitter though. And she sits on down, and Sinclair starts to, like, trying to come up with a plan about who's gonna break the news to Ray Jean. And Maxine said, don't look at me. And Sinclair like, okay, so it got to be me. Like, she'll probably appreciate us telling her. And Khadijah says, wrong. She gonna be resentful and upset. She probably gonna feel like we knew about it first, and she gonna be mad about that. And Maxine said she gonna accuse us of being jealous. And Khadijah ass on and said she gonna try to accuse us of trying to steal bread and all this other stuff. And then Sinclair says, well, look, I guess she'll just find out on her own. And that conversation that they just had is some real shit, because a lot of the time that is how it can be. Some women be so desperate to hold on to a man that they will delusion themselves to think whatever, absolutely whatever makes it convenient and what they feel like is comfortable to keep him in peace, despite the fact that he is just a big old ball of confusion and chaos, and will only bring confusion and chaos. And a lot of the time, it's like, even if that means sacrificing their friendships that have been solid and that they done had for almost all of their lives. And it is so very sad. So, while they would definitely be good friends to tell her, it is also understandable why they wouldn't want to tell her, especially being the fact of the way that Ray Jean comes off. But it also makes me wonder, because they've been knowing Ray Jean for such a long time, they probably have had experiences with her like this, where her response was to blame them and make them the enemy one way or another for telling her what's going on. So the writers are giving us the opportunity to make assumptions about her, and then we'll get on to, like, knowing what's real about her. And if they have had experiences with her like this before, if she has a different reaction than they expect, then that may show, some growth. Very interesting. Very interesting. I like the way that they unravel the characters. But as they are all in agreement to letting her find out on her own, she walks on in the kitchen, doting about her man once again. Because she said they're going to Martha's Vineyard for the weekend. Bars. She said he wants to get away from the city. Maxine says that ain't all he want to get away from, honey. So she walks over. She's like, I'm following this man under F for fine, fabulous, and my future. Something tells me he might like a wife. Sinclair says, ooh, you know your man. Ooh, shade. So Ray Jean And my bad, y'all, if I be calling Regine Sinclair. I don't know why I want to do that. But Regine just goes on to say, you two should start looking for a new roommate. Now, baby, they just might be able to move Brad's potential soon-to-be ex-wife in to replace you, since you just might be replacing her over there in his house. A scandal. But it seemed like at this point, Khadijah can't hold it in no more. And she said, Regine, hold up, baby. It's something that we got to tell you. And Max say, trust us. We are not saying this to hurt you. I just can't stand to see a sister go out like this. Some guy. And Khadijah trying to find the words. But Sinclair goes ahead and spits it out and says, Brad is married. Goodness gracious. Now, I ain't gonna lie. The look on Regine's face seems like she already suspected that something was off, and she just didn't want to allow herself to cling to it because she didn't want to ruin the good time that she was having for herself. I got to point out that this is a nice dress suit that she got on too. We're going to have some fashion reviews in the future. So just hold that thought. I'm going to go ahead and try to wrap up the review of this whole episode. It's just so much to take in and appreciate. Okay. So she's standing up there with egg on her face, and her face has about dropped to the floor. And she like, what? What are you talking about? And they just kind of awkwardly sitting in silence. And she said, he is not married. I mean, he don't wear a wedding ring, girl. You know how easy it is just to take it off, put it back on, take it off, put it back on. But this is just her, trying to rationalize continuing on with him despite the red flags and the revelation. Sinclair, Ditzy self, is talking about, well, she got a point. He don't wear a ring. She's got a point. Girl, you know better. So she goes on to say, Regine, that is, if he's married, then why didn't he tell me? And Khadijah said, girl, because he's married. He's a two-timer, cheater, pumpkin eater, a dog, cat dog, atomic dog, Snoop Doggy dog. And Maxine says, look, Regine, I bet he always pays cash on y'all dates, so he can't be tracked down by the receipts. Ooh. Regine says that's because he hates credit. And Max says, does he whisper on the phone? And Regine said, well, he's just a private person. Maxine says, does he always have excuses for why you can't call him at home? Regine talking about, see, his grandfather's hearing aid is broken, and when the phone rings, it bothers him. They fed up with her foolishness. But see, Maxine, I feel like, got a keen eye at this point. And perhaps Maxine having had a divorce case earlier in the episode was like a foreshadowing at the same time. And it also lets us know that, she got some, like I said, her eye is more keen. Her sense of discernment is more open when it comes to a situation like this, to be able to give Regine that rundown of all his possible sneakery and trickery dickery doc of it all, of how he's getting by cheating on his wife because she deals with it every day and just got through dealing with it, exposing some man and helping his ex-wife get away with a bag and then some. But Khadijah got to get up and reel Regine in. She said, look, Regine, listen to me, okay? As much as I love to be right, and mother loves to be right, I'm telling you, I wish I was wrong this time. That man is married. And Max said, girl, he took us all. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Her lip quivering. She wants to cry. Sinclair said, go ahead, girl, let it out. Go on, cry. Because if you don't, your tear ducts will get blocked up. And when you get old, you won't be able to cry. I get what she's trying to say, though. I get what she's trying to say. But Khadijah's like, girl, just when we thought it was safe to let you in the conversation, here you go. But see, now there's about to be a knock at the door. But before then, Ray Jean is like, okay, so he been lying to me, rubbing all up against me, talking about, oh, baby, my baby. Who does he think he is? And there's the doorbell. And she is ready and determined to go in there and get Mr. Bigamy together. She storms on in there. The girls are excited to eavesdrop from the kitchen to listen to the tell off and tell all. And he walks in and she said, baby, I ain't your baby tonight. You got a wife. And he starts talking about, oh, Reggie, I was going to tell you, baby. And see, I was just looking for the right time. Gaming, honey. Gaming. And Maxine is like, they don't never vary from the same script. And she's absolutely correct. A lot of different men have the same exact script. Just run the same old lines and rhetoric of lies. And he starts laying it on thick. Now, see, he doing what a lot of men don't do. He's validating her emotion. Even though he's being manipulative, he's validating her emotion, which can make a person feel safe. Ooh, he's a dog. He's a dangerous dog to be dealing with, too. She still could do better, though, because he ain't all that creative. Ray Jean just needed some excuse to hold on to this man. And while he is talking about some, Reggie, I understand you're angry, okay? And I understand why. And he rubbing all on her shoulders and talking all up in her ear and everything. And he talking about, I just want a chance to explain. Please, just give me a few minutes. How about we go somewhere so we can talk alone? Now, see, this is more manipulation. Emotional abuse, if you will, because now he want to isolate her. He done disarmed her by validating her emotion as a form of manipulation, and now he want to isolate her. So there can be no competitive elements to the bullshit that he trying to serve and call chocolate cake. Raggedy. And the girl's still listening from the other end of the door over there up in the kitchen, and they like, okay, now she gonna kick him to the curb. But nope. She walks out with him, gone out with him. And they was expecting to run out and, be able to embrace her and congratulate her and all that. But child, she is gone. And Sinclair ain't caught on, though. Because she talking about, well, that was awfully polite of her to walk him outside. Girl, no. She gone. And she gone in the brain right now. And it's a shame to see. But it do be like that sometimes. Sometimes they don't leave immediately. They got to, go through just a little more before they get to that point. And child, some women don't ever leave. They just keep coming up with different lies to tell themselves, to delusion themselves, so that they can continue to hold on to some sorry piece of man, because Betty Wright told them that having a piece of man was better than no man at all, so they just got to stick with what they got and work with it. Take the shackles off your feet so you can dance, honey. Stand up! Unfortunate. But it is good to see that she didn't attack and blame them, okay? So that's good to see about Ray Jean. She's a whole lot of things, but, seemingly based off their past experiences, there has been some growth on her end. And we can just see either way that she trusts her friends. Even though she may not be making the right decision in this particular moment, she does trust her friends. But I guess now she gotta just continue to go through her own continued experience to gain more trust in herself. And when you on the side that Khadijah, Max, and Sinclair are on, it's very easy to feel like, man, she's stupid. I wasted my time telling her this and that and the third, da 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 da. But no, it ain't even gotta be like that. Sometimes people just have to go through their own experiences with the information that they got, okay, from you. And they know that they can trust you, that they can rely on you. And they got that information in the back of their head. And once they have like a certain experience for themselves, the information at the back of their head gonna come to the front, and they gonna do what it is that they need to do. You know, it don't mean that you failed or that you wasted your time. You just have to like release yourself from the situation and try not to be so possessive and controlling over your friend, because you're trying to protect them. But sometimes it's like the saying goes, when you love something or somebody, you gotta be willing to let it go, which is also an act of trust and an act of love, because everybody still gotta have their own experience to get their own special wisdom. So that's all that's happening here. But they sitting back at the house, seems to be the next day. And we got the whole crew in the living room, and Khadijah is still having a hard time getting somebody for her cover. Now it seems as though somebody named Slappy White, they manager, who doubles as his cook apparently, has also turned her down. And she got on a Howard University shirt. Come on, culture. Come on, culture. And I believe I just saw it this morning. Howard has named their fine arts building after Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace, Chad. Wakanda forever. Yes, we love to see it. And I be loving stuff like this too in the black shows and movies and whatnot, where they have on the paraphernalia that just shows love and homage to all the different other elements of black culture and black history, specifically the HBCUs. Yes. She look good too. Everybody look good. The coloration is giving. So yeah, ooh, I like this outfit that Sinclair got on too. Anywho, Khadijah is fussing, and Sinclair is trying to give her some words of encouragement. Cause Khadijah is just about at her wits' end and ready to give up. And Sinclair says, why don't you just write a really great cover article that will really grab your readers' attention? And Khadijah said, pipe down, Paul, and eat your pudding. Let me know if you know that reference. She said, you just trying to make me forget that you lost my cover. And Sinclair's like, yeah, maybe. Has anybody seen Sinclair? And Khadijah said, yeah, she's upstairs getting ready to go out with Brad again. And Kyle pipes up for whatever reason, all up in women's business. I always got to defend a man. He one of them, but it's a lot of them though. It's always a flock, a herd of men so gung-ho and ready to defend another man, and they don't even have the information. And sometimes they have the information and they still be trying to rationalize bullshit. Like they be doing the same thing that some of these pick-me women be doing, and or women that's just like totally consumed by infatuation and doing, you know, what Ray Jean is doing. Cause I say Ray Jean is half and half pick me and independent woman. What makes her a pick me is that she really wants to be kept, and she really wants to get enthralled in her fantasies of love and romance and the glitz and glam of it all, her happily ever after. So that's what ends up having her have pick me tendencies. I don't think Regine is a pick me, but she has pick me tendencies. And like I said, how a lot of women end up doing when they really want to hold on to a man, they tell themselves a bunch of lies. It's like a lot of men have been conditioned to have such a herd mentality that they will also just feed into and feed themselves and other people a bunch of lies and delusion to defend a man that does not deserve defending. And that is a part of the voice that Kyle projects and tends to. Why he's talking about, so what do you have against a brother anyway? And Maxine says his wife. And Overton says, well, I dated a married woman once. And Sinclair is a little perturbed. She said, really? He says, nah, I'm just lying, trying to get attention again. And cheesing and carrying all. Oh, he is so adorable. So she finds that to be real funny. Regine comes downstairs looking like Betty Boop. Okay, she looks good. I love it. And they are, giving her the eyes and everything. And Kyle compliments her and says, oh, yeah, it's giving just a hint of easy with a tinge of I need a job. That was a good one. I'm going to let him have that. Again, I would love to see them try to date each other just to see what happens. And Regine then pipes up to the friends and it's like, so, I see you all are staying home again. And Maxine says, oh, yes, we're all sitting around like, oh, I don't know, wives whose husbands are cheating on them. But don't let them ruin your night. You go on out and have some fun. And here go Regine with the age-old excuses. Talking about, look, his marriage was over before he met me, and he's leaving his wife. Khadijah says, I should put you on the cover of my magazine. Flavor's Fool of the Year. Regine says, I know you don't agree with my decision to keep seeing Brad, but I got to trust him. I know that he's going to leave his wife, and then he's going to marry me, and we can put this whole thing behind us. So she's falling into the Robin from Waiting to Exhale right now, which again is a lot of women. It's a situation that a lot of women have gotten themselves trapped in. And again, this is just more excuses to uncomfortably hold on to this piece of man. But again, I love the way that this is written and portrayed because it is very relatable and it's still relevant to today. AF. Tisk. But Max and Khadijah are over it. And they like, why are you letting this man play you out like this? Don't you know that this is all a game? Regine said, look, I can take care of myself all right. Khadijah said, well, fine. If you say so, Miss Girl, put on your fake ears and your fake lashes and just tramp your fake behind up out of here because Khadijah don't need you. And Regine says, well, fine, I will. I'm gone, Tisk. And Max say, she's stupid. Now, I feel like Regine is much smarter than she's acting and functioning. She know good and well that she know better. She know it's a game. She just, like I said, wants any excuse to hold on to this man. And they are making her uncomfortable with how she's trying to comfort herself in it by calling her out and constantly reiterating to her the truth that she already knows. So, she not stupid, but she acting stupid. But at the same time, stupid is as stupid does. So, gotta call you stupid, girl. But Regine storms out and then about immediately steps back in, looking embarrassed, talking about, I forgot he's picking me up. And Overton says, girl, you better be careful. I hear that man got a wife. And Cal pipes up to smack him, but he blocks him this time. And I don't know why he was smacking him, because he ain't doing nothing but telling the truth. And child, when a man starts telling you the truth about another man type shit, you might want to listen. Because like I said, they are often more prone to stick up for each other and lie for each other and enable each other and delusion everybody and themselves for each other so they can all avoid accountability. So when a man start, you know what I'm saying, basically acknowledging and accounting for a man's bad behavior, especially to you, a woman, regardless of their intents, you better listen. You better listen. You better listen and take heed. Okay? Now, we flash to the next scene. And it is nighttime. And on the inside, Regine is still there, going through a hefty box of chocolates. And Sinclair tells her, honey, I don't think he's coming. And Regine is like, shut up. She don't want to hear that. And I kind of don't blame her, because she got all dogged up, did the most. She doted on his, like constantly got dogged up. And she looked extra damn good for this particular date that they was going on. And this man stood her up after all that crap. Done stood her up. Just a shame. And Khadijah and Max had done fell asleep. So they waking up now. And Khadijah says, chocolate, huh? Brad never showed up, did he? And Regine says, no. All right, Khadijah. So you could just go ahead and give me what I got coming. Khadijah says, no. Too easy. And Regine is like, why does this keep happening to me? And Max says it's because you keep looking for men to carry you. And Khadijah says, and they keep dropping your ass. Like an Eddie Murphy album. Poor Regine. Because she like, all she wants is the best. And she want a man that knows that fine wine doesn't come with a twist off cap. And Khadijah says, you know, I don't know how you got to be so snooty. You ain't but one generation at the projects, your damn self. Overcompensation, child. And Regine says, look, I'm not supposed to want more. Of course you can, child. And Max says, you can do anything. You're a woman. Hear you roar, okay? Sinclair added that part on. But she's just agreeing, okay? And Khadijah says, Regine, you got to start taking care of yourself. Put Regine first. Do what you need to do for you. And Regine says, you're absolutely correct, Khadijah. And Khadijah agrees. And Regine says, you know, I'm going to go shopping tomorrow, get my hair done, maybe buy some hair. Just treat herself. Pamper herself. And Khadijah said, that ain't exactly what I had in mind, but okay, look, that's Regine's idea of self-love and self-care. We can start there, and she'll build up to all the other stuff with some encouragement from her girls, hopefully. And Khadijah basically said the same thing I said. We'll just start there. And Max says the bottom line is men are nothing but speed bumps on the road to happiness. And baby, as much as I love and appreciate men, in a lot of cases, that be the truth. And Khadijah agrees. And Regine says, no, I think they're more like cheap pantyhose. At the worst possible moment, they run on you. Baby, I heard that. And they heard that as well. And Sinclair pipes up, but did you ever stop to think about what the world would be without men? Now, this is because she all like, into Overton. So she holding out hope. And I feel you, girl. I feel you because I know some good men too. I know some good men too that really help you keep hope alive. It just be so many of the toxic ones that just make it hard. But shout out to Sinclair. And Khadijah says a world without men would be a bunch of fat, happy women and no crime. A mess. A mess. And they all chiming in on that in agreement. It looks like they gonna sit up all night and just have, some girls' time and eat their snacks, probably have some drinks. And it's a vibe. It's a vibe. And shit, Regina probably have like honestly a more valuable, better time with them than with him. Cause at least it ain't all wrapped up in a web of lies. Mm-mm-mm. Now that was basically the final scene, but we get like an outro final scene of them all just in the bathroom, being girls, doing their thing, and my girl plays on the radio. And they all in unison and, folding in like a ripple, singing the song. Khadijah starts it out. Then Sinclair jumps in. Then Regine comes in. And then Max comes in. And they all just having this karaoke good old time. They all using different items from out the bathroom, a curling iron, a hair dryer. Max got this little nasty toilet cleaner, and they just using all these different things as microphones. And like I said, they singing My Girl. And while that's a Temptation song, like it's a romance song, I think it's really cool that they used it for this moment with them, because it gives that like they're singing to each other, like on some friendship shit. And it is so sweet and cute, and we love to see it. We love to see it. And what I would also say too, that I feel like Girlfriends kind of lacked, while you can appreciate like some of the messed up stuff that they went through together and made up as a result, the Girlfriends group it's like their friendship wasn't as solid as this friend group tends to be and seems to be. This friend group seems a lot more sisterly, a lot more girl, a lot more count on me through thick and thin, a friendship that will never end. While the Girlfriends friend group had quite a bit of fakery, backstabbery in certain instances, a whole lot of passive aggression. Like all of these girls are very different. They have their dominance and their like softer sides, but all of them have a thing of like, what you see is what you get, take it or leave it. And we're consistent in how we are, even in our friendship and our other relationships and all of that. Now, this is just the first episode, of course. So, this is my initial perspective. But based on what I've seen and what I have experienced, I'm seeing exactly why this show is so monumental and so appreciated, and how and why it was such a foundation for shows like Girlfriends. And why Friends seemingly, quote unquote, allegedly wanted to steal from it. That's what I heard. I ain't watched Friends like that. Again, I seen some bits and pieces, but from what I heard, they, you know what I'm saying, ripped off a lot of things. I'm seeing why a lot of projects and sitcoms that involve friend groups wanted to rip from this, because the way that the solidarity of the friend group is shown and portrayed is very warm and very needed. Because, like I said, even beyond girlfriends, there's a lot more fakery and passive aggression portrayed in friend group shows modern day. And that's messed up. Like, we need to see more examples of real friendships, real solid friend groups that have conflict, but it's not so like unacceptable as antics. Like, why would you keep being friends with them after they did something like that to you, you know? Because that type thing normalizes that type of behavior. Because even though things like that do happen, but when you constantly show people, like even when you show romantic relationships and you constantly show people making up and continuing to interact with each other and act like they have such great solid relationships, despite the fact that there's been so much abuse and betrayal and deception and all of this and that, it's toxic. And it compromises people's understanding that, you know, of what real relationships are and should be. And also it compromises people's understanding that you can forgive people without letting them back into your life how they once were. So yeah, great first episode. Great first episode. I really enjoyed that. This turned out longer than I expected it to be. But I believe I touched on everything that I want to touch on for this first review. And I do want to do some side videos to touch on other specific subjects, the fashions, some comparisons and all that. And definitely some of the pop culture references that came up, like the celebrities that came up. Y'all help me out. Let me know who them folks is and what these girls was talking about. Because on some of it, I was a little lost. I was born in 96. Bear with me. But yeah. With all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this cow dry. And I'm thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quarters for the next time. And be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways like love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.